Here with Robert and Grant, Massive Attack. Great to talk to you. Good to have you back because it was kind of a while since the last album. 5 years, I believe. Is that right?
Something like that.
And on tour again, back on the road. How's that feeling?
It's been a pretty long year. We started off in Australia and Japan, and then we've been did the UK, and obviously we've been in Europe doing our own shows and now the festivals, and then we'll end up in America and South America, and it's quite an extensive year. And I think, you know, as you get a little older, you start to feel it a little more. You know, it's because I think the problem is with touring, especially for us, you know, we've got a good group of people. Everyone's really chilled out. Everyone's really happy and nice, and we tend to like to party a little bit. You know, it's just an ongoing kind of sort of like a wearing down of the senses. You know, that happens over the years. You get more and more kind of into it, which is good. But you know, when you come out of it, you suddenly got to go back to the studio and go, right, let's think of something creative to do. So apart from writing lyrics on the road and things like that, you know, you sort of end up a little fuzzy at the end of it. So,
not that during 5 years you were idle and didn't do anything, because you've been quite busy, haven't you, really?
Yeah, I mean, man, we toured extensively after Mezzanine. We had like a year and a half of touring, and then we had a year and a half of splitting up as well. So that was 3 years kind of like taken care of. And then, you know, a year in the studio messing around and a year making a record. So, I mean, we always tend to kind of like sort of take our time in the sense that we have a crisis after each album where people come and go, and we have always coming up. We're such an unconventional bunch of people that we're not a band that sort of advertised for each other's services in a newspaper and said, right, a guitarist wanted. It was kind of like an...
You don't do that? What a surprise.
We've never tried it, actually.
You should try it. You never know who you might end up with.
That kind of, you know, the unconvention of it makes it kind of like a little bit more strange making records every time, which also can make it interesting when you come up with something you really, really love, you know, but that's kind of like mixed with a lot of sort of like bizarre disappointment and time wasting, you know, at the same time.
Let's talk a bit about the new record. When I listened to it the first time, I remember thinking, this is something new and it's different, but there's that, I mean, the first bar, basically, you kind of go, yep, this is Massive Attack. There's that sort of, I don't know, there's that sonic environment that kicks in really pretty much, I would have thought, you know, from that first set of chords. Does that sum it up well? Or do you feel that it's kind of, you're back on familiar territory, but you know, obviously it's a new album. You've tried to do something different, take it in a different direction.
Well, I think the thing is with bands, and it's with musicians, artists, writers, filmmakers, that what you try and do is do something new each time, a new project, a new idea. But you hope that within the changing sort of moods you create, the changing of ideas, the change of direction, you hope there's still something which is absolutely, utterly your own identity. And it's quite a difficult thing. If someone turns around to you at the end of an album and says, you know what, that's completely different from anything you've done, but it sounds exactly like you, then that's really cool, because they know that you can't try and do something no one's ever done before, but you can obviously do something you've never done before. And that is the challenge in being in the studio and making music, the ongoing idea of going there every day, coming out with something which is actually pushing your own kind of like ideas further apart, you know, changing your parameters a bit. Otherwise, you find that yourself in a situation a lot of bands do, like we've been before, where you've got lots of bits of music lying around which aren't really doing anything for you because you know you've been there before. But at the same time, you don't want to do something which is ridiculous, like trying to be something which isn't you and creating a piece of music which no one recognises. So it's kind of tough each time you make a record to sort of abstract yourself from yourself but be entirely yourself at the same time.
Grant, were you around for all of the making of this record, or did you take some time away as well?
No, I wasn't involved in making the last album, really. I kind of, you know, had our musical differences, and at that time I had a baby as well. Well, my girlfriend had a baby, and you know, I sort of took the decision to sort of stay with her for that time. But I was getting, you know, updates of what was going on and stuff like that. So, you know, it was all good.
You're going to be on tour for a while, for a few months. It's just more or less kicked off now, hasn't it? But you're going to be around pretty much throughout the summer.
Yeah, till about I don't know really, till about November time. You know, like Dee was saying. Were you saying in this interview where we were going?
October, I think. Well, I think we finished in America, South America, end of September into October, and then we're sort of buying a new studio environment, a new space where we're going to sort of like get up with a new desk, and we want to get
Where's
back.
That in London? In England?
No, that's Bristol. It's kind of like a slightly more rural setting. In fact, the weird thing is this is where G grew up. You know what I mean?
Send it to us, to you. Yeah.
It's me.
Selling it.
He's selling me an old barn to build a studio with. I can't believe it. He's ripping me right off.
You were hard, mate.
Been had big time. It's mate's old barn.
And why is that? Because you need a
soundproof it. I've got a damp-proof it.
Why is that? Because you need a bigger space, or you just want to be in a different space to create something a bit?
Actually, we're getting kicked out of our present studio. And I thought we had a chance to buy a building in Bristol, that we didn't buy because it just didn't feel right. It was a big old building and a lot of like responsibility, and now we're getting kicked out of it by the landlord. He's had enough of us, I think, you know. So we've been there 6-7 years, so now it's time to move on. But I think also we've made a couple of records there, done lots of remixes there, film projects and things. It's time to get to a new place, I think. And also I think what we really like to do is have a place where we can mix our own music, because we often rely on going to a studio in London, Olympic Studios, and that's all cool. It's, you know, lovely working with Spike and all the people at Olympic, but the thing is, ultimately you want the sort of satisfaction of mixing on your own desk in your own place, you know.
Yeah, and then you can kind of come and go as you please, and you won't feel the pressure of sticking to a schedule, I guess.
Well, the thing with us, I think we're good with schedules, because if we don't have schedules, we're going forever. You need some cut-off point, you know. You need a kind of like.
It's easy to start a track. It's impossible to know when to actually just leave it alone and let it be.
I think most bands find that, you know, if they've got any sense.
Well, look, we're going to have you whisked away from us, unfortunately, but thanks for coming and talking to us.
Thanks.
And enjoy the rest of the tour.
It's our pleasure. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Take care.